Welcome back. In Zimbabwe, citizens are heading to the polls on August 23 against the backdrop of one of the world's highest rates of inflation and accusations of an intensifying crackdown on opposition and journalists. In the run-up to the vote, questions linger over how free and fair the ballot will be in a country that is trying to rehabilitate its image. The cost of living crisis continues to be at the core of voters' concerns, and meanwhile, businesses are struggling to cope with crippling power outages and an unsustainable local currency, which lost 86% of its value between January and early June. Joining us from Zimbabwe, right here on the news, is Blessed Mlanga, a journalist in Harare, the capital of Zimbabwe, to give us a view of the citizens' rundown to the elections. Thank you very much for joining us on News Central. Blessed, can you describe the overall mood among the citizens in Zimbabwe? Just 5 days, of course, elections are around the corner. Are they hopeful? Are they anxious? Or are they indifferent?
Thank you very much for having me. If you were to walk into Zimbabwe today and not see the obvious banners and flyers that are flying around, if you're just going to see the citizens, you'd see that they are very, very much indifferent, and they're just carrying on with their lives like it's not the biggest election that Zimbabwe is having. The only activity that you see are posters around on street corners and also the rallies that are going on. But generally, people are just behaving like there's no election and they're just going up around their lives. I mean, this is the most dull election that I've seen and I've reported for over the past 20 years of my journalism career.
Interesting. Blessed, we've talked about the fact that, you have a cost of living crisis being at the core of voters' concern. Tell us some of the economic challenges, apart from that Zimbabweans are currently facing. How are these challenges impacting their daily lives and livelihoods? We know of the economic crisis that linger from the days of Robert Mugabe. Are they still facing that same challenge? And give us an insight into what Zimbabweans are going through on a day-to-day basis.
Right. Generally, the economic crisis is being felt by those who are working in the civil service and those who are formally employed because they are earning in local currency. Now, the local currency has been crumbling like a deck of cards over the past 3 to 4 months. But the government has attempted to artificially control it through what they've called the auction system here in Zimbabwe. But even though the currency has somewhat stabilized over the past month, owing to the controls by the Reserve Bank and by the Minister of Finance, you would note that the prices in the shops for the basic commodities continue to escalate and go up. So basically, just to give you a picture, a person who is professionally employed, say for example, a doctor, cannot afford to pay medical fees for their child at the same hospital that they work for if their child was to get sick, or if they are to get sick, they would not be able to afford medical attention. For a teacher, for example, a teacher working at a boarding school in Zimbabwe would not be able to use their salaries to afford the to place their child at the school that they're teaching. So this tells you that the crisis that is there. Many people in Zimbabwe are unemployed, even though they are waking up every day and going to work. So most of the people here are also vendors. They are living by the streets. They are selling wares on the street. So a teacher is also turning classrooms into vending sites. So teachers will come with sweets, pens, and books, which they then sell to their students, just to supplement their living. So the economic crisis here is real, although the government continues to deny it, saying that their finances turned the corner.
Blessed, thank you so much for giving us a sense of the issues that will inform how Zimbabweans vote in the not too distant future. We'll be monitoring that election from here. We appreciate your time Blessed Mlanga is a Zimbabwean journalist. He joined us live from the capital, Harare.